Welcome to Wired Up Retro, episode number 25. And yeah, today I'm going to be again getting back to the Atari 5200. We have a new discovery and I want to present this to you today. I'm pretty excited about it. You know, back in the old days, let's say more than 6 months ago, you could, easily go to eBay and find a Masterplay Clone for the Atari 5200. And all you would need to do would be to plug into this little 9-pin connector, either an Atari 2600 joystick of a variety of types, a Genesis controller, and that would work not just with one button but with two buttons. And then there was also another option with this, which I had shown in one of my earlier episodes. The Sega Sports Pad has two-button compatibility, and it's a trackball for use on digital games. You know, even games like Frogger work with it, unlike the Atari 5200 official trackball, which only has compatibility with a certain subset of games. This can work with a large variety of games, although the ones that are designed for analog, like Missile Command, not exactly compatible with that. Same with Breakout. Super Breakout's not going to be compatible with this combined with this trackball. All right. But, this does also have paddles compatibility, so you can play Super Breakout with Atari 2600 paddles by clicking the switch over to the side. It's a really wonderful adapter. It's got the numeric keypad, it's got the A and B and C buttons, which represent on the 5200 controller the start, pause, and reset. So it's very practical. But unfortunately, it's not in production right now. So we have a little bit of a dilemma about this. And, a lot of people do still want to play their 5200 games with their 2600 controller. Now, back on Wired Up Retro number 1, our very premiere episode, I had introduced a couple of adapters, one of which was this one made by Atariage member bohoki, B-O-H-O-K-I. He still makes these even to this day. This is a PC 15-pin to Atari 5200 controller adapter. And when that's plugged into the 5200, you can just take a PC controller. I have this one to show you here today, this QuickShot. Let's see, it's the QuickShot QS172A, and that will work on the 5200 when you just plug it into this. You can also plug into the second port of my bohoki adapter an Atari 5200 controller, and then you can use the numeric keypad. You could also plug this into port 2 of the adapter, and that will allow you to use the keypad as well. So yeah, anyways, this definitely allows a lot of different PC controllers to work on the 5200. And in our last episode, episode 24, Pete Spivak and I were going into some detail about talking about the variety of different controllers that you might be able to use. So anyway, with this, you can't use Atari 2600 controllers, and you can't use Genesis controllers or Master System controllers by Sega. But getting back to my first episode of Wired Up Retro, I had brought up this adapter that I got on eBay from a guy who produces them out in Greece. And he goes by Icons GR74. It's IKONS GR74. And at eBay, he'll sell you, he used to have this model back in 2015. And what this is it allows you to plug in a Atari joystick, and on this side, you've got a PC connector. And you just take your PC connector and connect it to this adapter on your 5200, and you get some Atari 2600 and some Sega Master System controller compatibility. So you could plug in the Sega control stick into this and it will work. Unfortunately, for some reason, all my Sega Master System gamepads are incompatible with it. You can not, unfortunately, plug in Genesis controllers into it. You can plug in a certain amount of Atari 2600 controllers into it and they'll work. Like this is the Gemini combo joystick and paddle. The paddle won't work, but the joystick definitely does. I also have this Mindscape Power Player joystick. This one has a lot of micro switches in it. I like it, and it does have compatibility with it. Unfortunately, with this, you can't get the Master System trackball working, and there are certain 2600 controllers, like Atari's own famous joystick. This is the CX10, also the CX40 won't work. They're not compatible. This QuickShot 2 Plus isn't compatible. So, you know, that's kind of a bummer. I learned this in 2015, that only certain controllers for the Atari would work on it. One of my favorites, though, is the Slick Stick. That one is compatible. And also, I found out that the Flashback 2 Atari joystick, which looks pretty much just like this, is also compatible when plugged in. So you at least got that. If you have the Flashback 2 console, you can actually have some compatibility. All right, and another thing, if you do have, let's say, this Master System 2-button controller, only one button is going to work. And, you know, in a game like this, you might be able to turn your copter, you know, left and right with the one button, but when you press the other one to fire, it's not going to work. So this is only a one-button solution for the one-button games. You know, you can play Dig Dug with Atari controllers, but you're not going to be able to play Choplifter in certain games with two-button compatibility. All right, so what I've found out is that the maker at eBay of these adapters, he has upgraded to a new version of this. And I found this out through my buddy at Atariage, who goes by the handle Swami. Swami actually earlier this year, around March, made a post on Atariage that said that he bought the new version, which now I have, and he stated that it worked with Master System controllers. So I shot him a quick message and I said, hey, I want to know a little bit more about that. Yeah, I found out probably 5 months after he made the post in March. I found out in August. And so he said, yeah, it said Amiga. It's an Amiga Atari 2600 / Commodore controller adapter to PC. And he said that the fact that it's an Amiga controller adapter enables those two buttons on, let's say, Master System controllers to actually be put into action towards a PC connection. So when you plug that in right here, then you could plug in your Master System controller and not just get one button to turn the copter, you know, going left or right, but you can also fire, which is fantastic. So I went ahead, as soon as he told me that it worked like that, I shot out an order, and it cost me about, I think it was right around $17, and that's from Greece. That's shipped. Not a bad deal, actually. So Icons GR74, thumbs up. I appreciate you getting that out here to the US for a reasonable price, and it works well. And I was actually very surprised because this is where the drum roll should occur. The Genesis controller actually has full compatibility with these two buttons. So you've got two-button compatible on the 5200 compatibility, and that is just like what the Masterplay Clone had before. Now this had the paddles compatibility, and this isn't going to be paddles compatible. But, you know, the bohoki adapter all by itself, if you just, you know, plug in a Ultra Racer PC controller, you've got yourself a paddle for the 5200, although it's a little different from an Atari paddle. It's going to function in a pretty similar way for games like Super Breakout and Kaboom, etc., etc. Even Space Invaders will work great with it, and Tempest works pretty well with it. So I guess that's really the big news today. The big news is that you now have something that would replace the Masterplay Clone that had been available, and a lot of people are like, oh, it's no longer available. I was thinking about getting it. Well, this is actually a pretty cheap solution. I mean, bohoki makes these at Atariage for under 20, and I got this for under 20, so for under 40 total, you've got yourself a very nice solution that's almost just like the Masterplay Clone, sans the paddle compatibility not being there. So yeah, there you go. Let's go ahead and get this all set up, and I'll be showing you some interesting gameplay. Even with the trackball with the two buttons, should be a nice experience. All right. Let's play some Dig Dug. I'm going to plug in this NES controller. This is called the Star Master. The Star Master is one of my favorite joysticks.
now.